Hey, I made and posted a daily drawing for 14 years. As a result, I changed my career and I learned a whole bunch of stuff. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 specific things that I learned. All right, let's get into it. The first thing I learned is that your daily drawings can and should be about anything you want. What I mean by that is don't be worried about being too obscure or worry that the things that you're drawing are only relevant to you because you like some super specific things. Super niche things tend to have super enthusiastic fans. The more sort of specific something is, the more the people who are into that sort of thing are going to be even more excited when they come across what you did, and they're going to be more likely to share it, spread it around, and talk about it. In return, become a fan of yours. When you make things intentionally because you think they'll have a much broader appeal, it tends to get a more lackluster response. The reason for that is because it generally doesn't stand out. When something is just sort of liked a little bit by everyone, no one's really passionate about it. Sort of brings up that phrase that, what is the phrase? It's something like, if nobody hates it, then nobody loves it? Is that what it is? It's something like that. Because you need sort of almost extreme feelings to generate a response. And it doesn't have to be like extreme content or anything. I'm just talking about like specific things that you're really into. If you make some art about that, the people who are also into that thing are probably going to find that and be really excited to find it. We're off to a little bit of a chaotic start. The other reason why this is important is because when you're making things about stuff that you're really into, you'll be way more enthusiastic to work on it, and you'll find time to sneak it into your schedule, because sometimes the idea of a daily drawing project can feel overwhelming. You're like, where will I make the time? But if you're really excited about what you're going to make, it's so much easier to make the time. You'll be drawing while you're watching TV. You'll be drawing, in any sort of downtime that you have while you're waiting to do something. So this leads me to number 2, which sort of feels similar to number 1. I feel like it could be like 1B, but we're going to call it 2 because I said 5 things. So number 2. Don't make the work that you think will get you hired. Actually, I feel good about this being 2 because I feel like this is something that should be sort of drilled into and focused on. When I first went full-time freelance as an illustrator, I started making things that I thought would get me hired. What I mean by that is I would make things that I thought illustration looked like, if that makes sense. I was coming into illustration from a design background and sort of didn't really know what illustration was at the time. And I knew that I was starting to get commissioned illustration work based on my daily drawings. But since I was deciding to go full-time freelance, I was like, all right, well, I need to really be an illustrator now. And I was looking at other illustration and I was like trying to make things that looked like the other illustration that I was seeing. I don't think one thing that I made with this mindset of making things that I thought would get me work actually led to any project leads. I think it was all a big waste of time. It wasn't that fun for me to do because it felt unnatural. As a result, I wasn't that proud of the work. I didn't get any new clients. Over time, I discovered the work that was actually getting me hired was the stuff that I had the most fun doing and was usually about topics that I was really interested in and stuff that I enjoyed. One example is a series of drawings that I made for every bicycle that I owned throughout my life. For most people, that's not enough for a big series, but I've been sort of bike crazy my whole life, so there were a lot of bikes. And I just drew these pictures of them where it was like a drawing of my bike, and then I'd probably like mix in some memories and things that I associated with that bike and just like sort of weird stuff that was sort of just relevant to me, and it was almost, it was a very personal thing. What I didn't anticipate, though, was the idea that there's other people like me who are also bike crazy and also had all kinds of memories tied to different bikes that they had. And people who normally wouldn't have seen my work or cared about my work were starting to like comment on my pieces, talking about how they used to have that bike or they related to the memory, and they'd start sharing their own memories. Then they'd be like passing around my drawings, and it was crazy and awesome. And so my work ended up getting in front of all these people who normally wouldn't have seen it. At the end of that series, I like put them together in like a little zine with all the books, and then that zine actually ended up getting picked up by Bicycling Magazine, which in return put my work in front of all kinds of bicycle enthusiasts and bicycle companies, which led to a whole bunch of work for all different kinds of bicycle companies, because the bicycling industry is pretty small. So when you get your work into one of the bigger publications, everyone in that industry is going to see it. And that neatly leads me to number 3. When you draw a lot, I discovered this recently that like, I think that's what it's from. Like you can't, your fingers your hands get a little stiff. So like my drawing hand, I can't really do this number 3 thing. Does that happen to any of you? Or is that just me? Do I have something else going on? Because like over here, I can nail the 3. Look at that. Boom! 3. So that neatly brings me to number 3. Series are the best. As I talked about earlier, making time for personal work, especially a daily drawing project, can be really difficult. We've all got a lot going on. Feel like there's no time for anything. And on top of that, coming up with ideas can be really difficult. I know it is for me. I struggle with ideas all the time. But what I discovered through the bicycle series is that when you have a series, you don't have to come up with an idea for the whole length of that series. It's amazing. It saves so much time. I'm just like, okay, well, I drew this bike last night. Tonight I'm going to draw this other bike that I had. And then you keep going. Everything's amazing until you end your series, and then you have to start all over again and back to panic mode. But while the series is happening, it's so good because you can just start drawing because you don't have to think about what you're going to draw. You already know what you're going to draw. The other great thing about a series is it gets people following along. Like people who are interested in what you're drawing in that series are going to be anticipating what's coming next and excited for it and looking forward to each post each day. And then they'll be sharing that to people, and then those people will share it on to other people. And you got all these new people coming in to check out your series, and they're watching it grow. And then at the end, you can make something cool with it. It's a perfect material to do like a little promo piece. So as I mentioned with the bicycling series, I made that little zine at the end, which was just a little booklet with all the drawings of my bikes in it. Those are the perfect thing to like send out as a promo piece to prospective clients. And not only are they great for promotional material like that, you can also sell them on your website. All these people who are super into the drawings, you can be like, hey, I put them in a little book, and now you can just have all the drawings on your table. What do you think of that? So now you're getting work, and you're selling stuff. You got any ideas for series that you can draw? Let me know in the comments. I want to know. I need a new series to keep me going. I feel like I'm dealing with some serious creative block. Bach was very, very creative. I don't know anything about classical music. I feel like I have some creative block lately for a long time. Suffering a little bit. Need some inspiration. So maybe a series is what I need to get back into it. So I don't know. You guys have ideas for a series? Let me know in the comments. I want to know what you're thinking about drawing, because you gotta start moving. You gotta do a series. I gotta do a series. You gotta do a series. We're gonna do a series together. Seriously though, I've done a lot of series. You want to hear about some of the series that I've done over the years? I got a little list over here I'm going to check. I did a series of drawings of lyrics from songs that I like. I did an alphabet series where I did an illustration of every letter in the alphabet. And then I did another alphabet series where I did a drawing for each letter of the alphabet, but each drawing was a jumble of things that started with that letter. Like A, there's like an alligator, and an axe, and an apple, and an axolot, and a anteater. Did I say apple? Lots of A things. Did the whole alphabet. It gets tricky when you get to like an X. Yeah. I did a series of weird old quirky cars that I liked. I did a series of angry donuts. I illustrated a series of tweets about God creating animals and things. Listen, I did a lot of series. There's more, but those are just some of them to get your brain, get the old noodle rolling. Is that a phrase? 4. I can do 4 with this hand because I don't need to bend the fingers. You can use your drawings to become proficient in a new skill. Let me explain what I mean by telling you how this worked out in my life. One day I was struggling to come up with a drawing idea, as I often did. And I was just perusing the internet, as one does, just trying to find some inspiration, just trying to find that spark to make some magic happen on my sheet of paper. On this journey, I stumbled upon an animated GIF that made me laugh. I decided to save that animated GIF. I don't remember why. Just wanted to keep it. Maybe wanted to share it with someone. Maybe just wanted to have that animated GIF on my computer. So I saved it, double-clicked on it to get that little giggle going again, and then my Apple computer opened up Preview like it does. It defaults to Preview. Preview, for some reason, does not display GIFs. I don't know why. Seems like something they should have fixed. But what it does do is it shows you the first frame and then all these thumbnails of the different frames. But I looked at this and I was like, oh, look, all that movement was not that many frames. And I had experimented with animated GIFs in Photoshop. Like I knew how it worked, but I hadn't done like animation. It was more just like making one thing, like maybe an image and then like a word pops up on top of that image, like LOL. I don't know. I knew how that worked. So I was like, this seems pretty straightforward. Maybe I'll try to make an animation like this. So I opened up Photoshop and I just decided I was going to try changing one word into another word, which I actually demonstrated in my last live stream. So if you want to check out that process, you can watch that live stream. So anyway, I drew the word and then slowly changed it a little bit to get to the next word, and then made this animated morph. And I was like, wow, that actually worked. I can't believe it. That was easy and that was fun. And it felt like magic because I went from creating these just like static drawings to all of a sudden it was like a little animation and it just was like a little movie, even though it was just like morphing one word into another word. So it was so much fun. I wanted to keep doing it and I just kept playing around. And at the time I remember thinking, is this a good use of my time? Because I can't imagine how this would ever be relevant to me getting, client work based on this, which brings me back to number 2. Don't make the work that you think will get you hired. Now, as I'm saying this, in the world that we live in right now, I understand it sounds ridiculous. But at this time, social media was a little bit smaller and different. There wasn't videos on Instagram. Social media advertising hadn't exploded yet. There weren't animated loops and animated illustrations happening all over the place. This was just, it wasn't there. Regardless of my thoughts on this being relevant or not relevant to, potentially getting client work, I was like, well, I'm really enjoying doing this. I'm having a lot of fun and people might like them. And then it may lead them to see my other work and then maybe that would get me hired. So I just kept doing them. I was able to justify it that way. And the more I played around and experimented, I started, morphing words into objects and then things like faces and creatures, just all kinds of stuff, just morphing and making these animated loops. Learning some simple animation like this and learning how to add motion to my illustrations and make these little animated loops went on to become the most lucrative thing that I've ever done for my career. And at the time, I thought it was not going to help my career at all in terms of getting projects. So don't trust yourself. That's not the advice I take from this. You never know. I never knew. I feel like everything that I've done in my career has been a little bit of an accident. Any success that I've had has been sort of unintentional. The good thing is I can look back on it now and sort of mine the information and be like, oh, wow, can you believe it? And then I can share it with you. I guess I guess that's good, right? I feel like maybe you could go and maybe just like kick that like button right in the face. Just pew, smash it, smash the like. Maybe give me a subscribe, and then we're even. Sounds like a good deal, right? But the reason it became the most lucrative thing that I've done for my career is that the growth of social media advertising has just been exponential, and it's created a huge demand for content from illustrators like us, like me and you. They need tons and tons of illustration. And the fact that it is on the internet and it can be animated, they want it to be animated. So they're more likely to hire someone that can create something with a little bit of motion than just a static illustration. That novelty of motion is still really important in making things stand out. And because it's advertising, it's the best paying kind of illustration work. So win-win. I have like a ton of thoughts on social media advertising and why I think it's so great. One quick thing is that because social media can target specific kinds of people and categories and niches and age groups, the content that they put out can be much more tailored to those kind of people so that there's so much more creative freedom. In typical advertising of the past, when you're doing an advertisement, whether it's in like a mainstream media magazine or on like a cable network, that advertisement is going to be seen by a broad range of people. So it needs to sort of appeal to everyone. And you remember what we talked about. If everyone likes something, nobody loves it. I don't know. Do you know what the quote is? Put it in the description, because it's an important, relevant thing. But anyway, if you make something that is like fine for everyone, no one's going to be super psyched about it. So with social media advertising, you can target down to specific audiences and make something that they will be really excited about, which in turn gives you more creative freedom because you're not trying to make something that appeals to everyone. So my little animated GIF experiments led to me creating animated illustrations for clients like Adidas, Cartoon Network, Microsoft, McDonald's, so many more. It's crazy. It's a good thing I didn't listen to myself when I said it was a bad idea. Okay, number 5. 5's an easy one with the hands too. And also don't run away right after I do this, because I got 2 more bonus ones that I'm gonna fire at you right after number 5. So stick around for that. So number 5 is, it will help you organically find your style. I feel like this is a question that I've gotten asked so many times in the past, like, how did you find your style? And, I feel like so many people want there to be this just like quick and easy answer, like, well, I went on a trip to Denmark and went to this little village and I met this person and I got this box and inside the box was my style. I firmly believe the only real way to find your style is to just make a lot of work. And I know that's not a satisfying answer, but you got to make a lot of work to work out what your style is. A daily drawing project is perfect for this. Not just because it's making a new drawing every day. There's specific things about a daily drawing that I think really can expedite this process. For me, when I commit to something, I commit hard. I've since realized that this is a sort of a feature of my ADHD, but little challenges and things like that, things like my daily drawing project that I did for, 14 years. I mean, I got these books are filled with drawings. These are all daily drawings. And the last one I did was 4 years before I stopped doing daily drawings. So I commit to things hard. I like a good challenge. I did like 30 days of where I had to ride my bike every day for 30 days. I did it with skating. I did like a weird push-up challenge. I did a push-up challenge while doing the daily drawing project, and let me tell you, that's a terrible idea because you do the push-up thing where it's like 100 push-ups a day, and then you're like, you got to draw with your arms that have become noodles. So sometimes you don't want to mix your challenges. What was I talking about? Finding your style. Did I mention the ADHD? Okay, I got a bullet list over here. I don't know why I'm not looking at it. The reason the daily thing is relevant is because Some days I didn't have a lot of time. Most days I didn't have a lot of time. Some days I was sick. Sometimes I was in a bad mood. Some days I was in a good mood. Some days I wanted to do something else, but I was committed to the daily drawings. And I was like, well, I have to do them. I have to do the daily drawings. Forcing myself to do the daily drawing, even when I wasn't in the right mindset or was rushed or was exhausted or not feeling well, sort of pushes you past the point where you can overthink things. And I guess maybe like your subconscious sort of kicks in and you get out of your own head. I guess that's the point. Like you get out of your own head and you can sort of just let the process happen. And that process is sort of naturally going to show your personal style. Obviously, it's not just going to appear that one time you push through it, but it's going to evolve and develop and become more natural to you. You'll start to realize like how you draw certain things, and you'll get this visual language that will just start to appear and show itself. And you'll be able to see patterns as you look back at the old daily drawings. You'll be like, oh, look at this. And you'll see this sort of style emerge, and it'll start to make sense. And you'll feel more comfortable in that style. Okay, I have two more bonus lessons. I don't think lessons is the right word. These aren't really lessons. Thoughts? 2 more thoughts. That's pretty vague. 2 more things that I've learned. But I guess that's lessons. These are my lessons. My lessons for you. My lessons that I learned after the fact, so that I wasn't able to benefit from them. Well, I benefited, but I wasn't able to know that I was benefiting from them until afterwards. But first, just did you like and subscribe yet? Because listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a new channel. It's a growing channel. It's a little bit of a grind. I don't like asking you to like and subscribe. I sort of treat it as being funny, like and subscribe, YouTube, that kind of thing. So I sort of feel like I'm doing a character when I tell you to like and subscribe. But for real, it helps the channel immensely to grow. I'm almost at the point where my channel can become monetized. I have to reach a certain amount of hours watched. And if my channel can start to bring in a little bit of income, I can sort of spread my workload out a little differently so that I can focus more on making videos. Because they take a lot of time. I love doing them, but I got to balance that with client work too. So if my channel becomes monetized and I'm able to make a little bit of income from this, I can spend more time and do more videos. I'm definitely uploading new videos every week, trying to go live once a week. As things progress, I might be able to do more than that. So if you're into this stuff, you're into my videos, and these are helpful for you, go do that. All right. The last 2 things. 1, I guess it's not really 1. I'm not calling it 6. This is bonus. Bonus number 1. You'll have an archive of stuff to steal from. So I steal from my drawings all the time. Let's say I get a project and I have to draw something specific, and I have something like that in an old daily drawing. I use that as reference or just use that all together. All kinds of little things. When you do a daily drawing for so long, there's just an archive of visual information that you can go through and use as your own personal piggy bank of content. Because I did them for so long, I would go and redo old drawings and make better drawings out of them. You can also take these drawings that you've done and make them into other things. You can make products out of them. You can make t-shirts, prints, obviously, patches, anything you want. You can make it and sell them. And then bonus number 2 is it'll make you faster and more proficient. This is sort of an obvious one, but the more you work, the better you get at it, and the faster you become. Also, when you're committed to a daily drawing project and you have to sneak one in, or it's the end of the day and you're running out of time and you really want to get it done, you become faster and faster because you're doing it so much. I guess it's that thing where the more you do something, the more proficient you get at it. And I would just say on top of that, it's pretty incredible how much you will progress and get better by doing daily drawing project, especially early on. As I would go through, if I would look back at a drawing I did a year before, it would feel like I would look at it and be like, this is absolute trash garbage. I can't believe that I put this on the internet. And then 6 months later, I would look back at what I did that day and be like, well, that was hot trash garbage. You get faster and better and better and better and better. You want to hear me ramble some more? If you do, check out this other video about 5 things that I wish I knew when I went full-time freelance as an illustrator. Okay, good talk. Bye.